Another successful SSLV launch for ISRO. Now remember, ISRO is somebody who plays with big rockets like GSLV and PSLV, and now it has also ventured into small satellite launch vehicles, all with the intention to provide more space for the private companies. We have the director for SHAR. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. So the SSLV launch, what would you like to say about it? How did it go?
It is a very feeling personally very happy that since I involved from the beginning in SSLV, we intend to have a technology, a robust technology, and a production-friendly launch vehicle to be made. That was the motto behind this, with as low cost as possible. So, by making 3 rockets, we reached the end of the development stage. And is very happy to note that the rocket has performed very well and has put a spacecraft in the intended path in a very precise orbit. Actually, we achieved a very good precision. So this augurs very well that we can make a production-friendly, easy to fabricate, quick to fabricate, I would say, to fabricate rocket. So this is one of the milestones.
For commercial purposes, what will be the cost effect for SSLV-3 compared to PSLV, or the time of production for a PSLV and SSLV? Because for commercial purpose, both cost and time is very valuable.
See, PSLV is a vehicle designed during 1970s and 1980s, whereas SSLV, based on the technology development, the avionics and all the other parts, the propulsion system improvement, we have made, and the know-how has increased over the last 30-40 years. We have put in all those knowledge into this to realize a very cost-effective, vehicle for a payload of 500 kg. That was the target, to put it in 500 km orbit with a cost-effective solution. So this has definitely is a overriding culmination of all the technology that has been developed during PSLV, GSLV time.
Has any private sector showed interest in SSLV so far, or for their launch vehicles?
Satellites has been interested, is responsible for the technology transfer, and they have already called for an expression of interest, and many industries, in domestic industries and individual industries, as well as the consortium, has come forward and showed them expression of interest. Now all are being evaluated depending upon the capital, as our beloved chairman has already told. We have IN-SPACe is evaluating each one of the industries and trying to shortlist.
Coming to the much awaited part, you're the director of the rocket launch over here, so you're the correct person to speak about the human-rated launch vehicle and the update on that particular project.
Say, as you know, now we are very much, we call it as Gaganyaan year, and coming days is Gaganyaan time. Our industry is doing a lot of experiments. Since a human is involved, the experiments and the abort system and the escape system that has to be put in place, and how to make sure that at any given time, what kind of how to abort and bring the human and the astronauts, Gaganyatris we call it, Gaganyatris, to bring it safe back to the Earth. So many experiments are being done, and we are trying to start the first G1 mission by this year end. And that's what the target is for a nominal flight.
How about the change of this cryogenic engine from C25 to C32? What is the potential difference, sir?
No. It is actually trying to increase the capability and making, as we learn the knowledge improved, we are seeing that a C32 vehicle will be a good one, and we can bring in more reliability in this, and also with a lesser fuel, we can make sure that we are definitely to meet the Gaganyaan requirement.
When are we expecting the crewless launch of HRLV, and any kind of update on that one, sir?
We are aiming at December, that is by this year end, the first G1 mission without crews.
Thank you so much. That was Raj Rajan, the head of ISRO launch pad here, and he has said that Gaganyaan's first launch is expected by December. Xavier, Pramod Madhav, Point Today.